Hi, I'm Tim and this is Timberway Designs. In this series of videos, I take 10 common beach rocks that anybody can find out there and I bring them home and I'm going to cut them in half on this video right here. And then after I cut them in half, we'll look at the inside and then I'll take those 10 rocks and I'll make a cabochon out of each one of them to show you that I actually do something with these rocks. And then at the end of this video, I got the rocks from the previous video, episode 26, the California rocks, and you should stick around for those, or you can jump ahead and pass up all this good content here. It's up to you. So let me get these rocks. We'll spread them out here and we'll take a closer look at them, and then we'll take them downstairs in the saw and cut them in half. Okay, got 10 rocks here from Lake Superior. Get them set out here, and then we'll talk about them. So my buckets are starting to get kind of mixed up a little bit because getting ready for wintertime up here in Wisconsin, so I've been moving stuff around the shed a little bit, or the garage, and I don't label where they're from. I can kind of guess where they're from, but they're all from Lake Superior. They're in Lake Superior water, so. And I got to turn another light on here, get the light a little better. Okay, let's talk about these. All right, so this one here, I'm thinking it's a big old chunk of chert with some red jasper running through. Let's get it wet here. It's got some little bubbles and stuff. Actually, it looks like it's even got some fortifications right there. So that'll be the first one. A piece of amygdaloidal rhyolite with some jasper, it looks like, in there, maybe some quartz. And you can see why I picked this one up. That's pretty. Here's another amygdaloidal with some knobby looking stuff in there. I'm thinking jasper maybe, I'm not sure. I'm hoping it's all on the inside too, not just on the outside. Like I've mentioned before, sometimes I get these rocks and they look really nice on the outside, but when I cut them open, they're like blank. So I'm hoping these bits are all through the top of this rock here. Okay, got this here. I think this is a piece of unakite. Get it wet. Yep. Got the epidote, feldspar, and quartz. So hopefully that'll be an interesting cut. Yeah. I know that looks like a piece of granite in the center. I don't know what the host rock is. It's probably the whole thing's granite I'm seeing. When they're not wet, it's really tough to see what they are. Yeah, this looks pretty colorful here. So hopefully that band runs all through the center. I'm sure it does, but that's why I picked it up right there. Piece of epidote here. You can always see the green coming through. Pretty solid rock there. Got some quartz inclusions. A lot of green. A piece of jasper here. And I don't know if it's Mary Ellen or not. I can't tell until I cut it open. And the Mary Ellen is stuff we're picking up on the North Shore of Minnesota. So we shall see when I cut this open. This little guy here, I picked it up because I thought the crosses were good. It's kind of little on the thin side, but I think I can get one good cab out of it. I think it's an amygdaloidal because it looks like rhyolite, but that pattern right there caught my eye. So. And this one here is another amygdaloidal. And it just, these things here are so cool looking when they're wet. Looks like it's got kind of a pinkish theme going on in there. A little basalt kind of goes through there. So I'm hoping this goes inside the rock and there's a little nice pattern going with a mixture of the basalt in there. So, and finally, got this piece of gneiss with got got some red stuff there, probably feldspar. But I like the pattern, this pattern here. So then while I'm looking at this, I'm thinking how I'm going to cut this thing, and I think I've already made up my mind, but we'll see down in the saw. It's got a lot of stuff going on. Hopefully it's not just blah in the center. So these are the rocks for episode 27. We'll gather these up, take them down on my lapidary saw, and we'll cut them in half and see what's inside. So I'll meet you down on the saw. All right, we're down here on my high-tech 10-inch lapidary saw, and it uses what's called a sintered continuous rim diamond blade. They are absolutely not sharp. I'm rubbing my thumb on it right now, and it don't even cut the glove. So there's just thousands of tiny diamonds that do the cutting or grinding away. The blade just carries them. So let's get the rocks on here. Get them all lined up in a nice little row here, no particular order. And okay. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dress the blade. I use a coarse grinding disc, and you can see I use it quite a bit. About every 10 rocks, dozen rocks or so, or if I'm cutting really hard rocks, I'll dress the blade. You just run it through 3 times, just a little bit, maybe 1/4 inch or so, and it's just enough to expose enough new diamonds to make the cut easier. All right, let's start cutting. All right, first up, we're going to cut this piece of granite. I'm going to split it right down the center because I want this line on both sides. Alright, first rock, episode 27. Let's see what it looks like. That's kind of what I was expecting. That's what I wanted. I want to incorporate this line into the cabochon. Okay. Alright, got this bumpy guy here. I'm going to run him right down the center. Are the bumps on the inside? Let's look and find out. Yep, that's what I wanted. Cool. The other thing I want to tell you too, when I'm cutting these rocks, when I edit the video, I multiply the cut by 7 times to make it faster, or you guys would like be walking away from me if I just show you the whole cut. So the average rock takes about 30 seconds or more to cut, so that gives me plenty of time to move my thumbs around to get out of the way of the blade. All right, we got this amygdaloidal here. I'm going to cut it right down the center. All right, let's see if we got a cool pattern going on in here. I like that. Okay. Wow. All right, got this piece of jasper. I'm going to shave off this side right here, because if it's really cool, I want to have enough for slabs. Let's see what we got. I'm hoping for no fractures or pits. Ooh. I think we might have a piece of Mariel in here, folks. Yep. You can see the stromatolites right there. Awesome. That is awesome. Okay. All right, got this piece of epidote here, the quartz. I'm trying to think. I think what I might do is I'm going to cut this off right here. Right off there. All right, let's see what kind of pattern we got going in here. Ooh. Interesting. Okay. Alright, got this other piece of amygdaloidal. These inclusions of jasper, I believe. just going to split it right down the middle here. Does the pattern go all the way through? That is the question. Let's take a look. Okay. It's in there. All right. All right, got this piece of nice here. Thinking I was going to cut it. I was going to cut this end off here. I think I'm going to cut it like this instead. Yeah, I want to see if this goes inside. If this goes inside the rock. Okay, take a look. All right, no red, but I like the pattern. We can do something with that. All right, this skinny one with the crisscross in it. So I'm going to split it down the middle here. Try to keep this side for the cab. That was one hard rock. That took a while. Let's hope the pattern goes through the rock what I want here. And get it unstuck. Okay. There we go. That's exactly what I wanted. That is awesome. Alright. Piece of unakite here. I'm just going to split it right down the middle. So let's see if the design goes all the way through here. There we go. Okay, liking that. And this big old guy here. So let's see. I think I'm going to cut this edge off here because I like, if I make a cab, I'd like to incorporate this red stuff in here. And there's no telling what's inside this thing. Like I say, you don't know until you cut them. So I'm going to shave this side off here, and then we'll see what's inside. Okay, big rock cut. Let's see what's inside this big rock here. Oh, here we go. See, you got skinny little lines on the outside, you got big fat lines on the inside. This one gets a wow. Alright, I'm going to bag these up, take them upstairs, take a little closer look at them, talk about them a little bit, and I'll see you up there. So we're back upstairs from the saw. These are the 10 rocks I cut in half down there. Let's take a look at them and talk about them a little bit. So we'll grab this big one here. I'm going to run it through the water here to get some of the crumbs off. Okay. This one here, I thought it was a big chunk of jasper maybe. Well, it had jasper running through it. I don't know if it was a migdaloidal or what. Look at the design inside there. Ain't that cool? I mean, you would never know, just, you know, you see this on the outside, and you would never know it looked like this on the inside. And then it's got little bits of quartz and little veins of jasper running through there. So I'm hoping, I don't see a lot of pits or anything in there. Nope. There's a little crack right up there, though. We'll figure it out, but kind of impressed. If I got to take another chunk out of this, I'll do that too. Yeah, there's a few little cracks running through there, but it's a beach stone, so it gets beat pretty hard up by the surf and everything. Yeah, that's pretty. Okay, a little piece of unakite here. It's kind of almost a yellowish, I'd say yellowish muted whatever, but I'm a unikite. I like collecting this stuff. Got nice veins epidote running through there. You know, representation of the feldspar. Little mica, yeah. I think that'll look good. There's the outside. But the inside is a little more intense, I think. All right. I hate to keep throwing Marielle and Jasper at you, but I'd have buckets of this stuff if I could get away with it. Now, you look at this on the outside. Okay, piece of Jasper. Yeah, got a few spots. Man, look at that. Got little bits of hematite. Got the stromatolites. If you watch my last cab cutting video, I kind of explain a little bit more and show you, but you can kind of see a stromatolite right here. And there's another one there. Depends on how you cut it. If I would have cut it like this, then they'd just be round circles, but I cut it, you know, not knowing that they're going to be running horizontally. So, yeah, so I'm hoping it's not too pitted up there. I think I see a few pits, but I see a lot of solid, so I think I should be able to make a decent cab out of this side here. So I'm kind of excited to see that. Yeah. Surprise, surprise. All right, got this piece of amygdaloidal rhyolite. So I'm going to say brownish jasper in there. And it runs all the way through it with little quartz pockets. And whatever this mixture is up here. Yeah, I think there'll be a busy cabochon, but there'll be some nice patterns in there. That's what I'm looking for, color and patterns. That was my, when I'm picking up these rocks. So, yeah, there's the outside. Okay. Piece of quartz here. Had to throw a little more color in here. I don't want a bunch of drab rocks. And this one's got color. You can probably see this like 20 yards away on the beach. Look at that. I like that band in there. It almost looks like it's mossy. Kinda. But yeah, it's nice, pretty orange. Got some quartz floating around in there, some mica, little spots, a stripe. Where can I go wrong there? Hopefully it'll shine up beautifully. Ourselves a hunk of epidote here. Yeah, these vary greatly too. This one, it was various colors and stuff in there. Got some quartz, got some streaks running, got, you know, blobs. So I'll just figure out how to do a cab to incorporate some of the features inside this rock here. I mean, you could I could cut this thing into slabs, and every slab will look probably pretty different from this one, what we're looking at right here. But nice green color. Another piece of amygdaloidal here. So I saw this, kind of looked pinkish orange, kind of interested in that. Cut it open and you get this. Not as, you know, like slap you in the face colors, but it got some interesting patterns going in there. I got a little bit of the host rock. I was kind of hoping there'd be a little bit more host rock on the edge here, but Mecca might be able to incorporate that to get that in there. Yeah, I'm not disappointed. I got this other amygdaloidal here with the spots on it. And these spots, I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but you can feel them. So they're much harder than the host rock, which looks like basalt. Yeah, look at that. They are in there. So I'll be operating on this end of the rock, trying to incorporate some of these spots in there. Thought maybe there might be little agates, but I don't see any lines or fortifications in there. Maybe this one right here might have some right there. Always on the lookout for unusual stuff on the beach. This one right here, this rock, it took me a while to saw this. This stuff, whatever it is, it's really hard. I don't know if I'd call this jasper or chert, but look at that line in there. That's what I was interested in. So somehow I'm going to incorporate this into the cabochon, and I ain't quite decided. If anybody's got any suggestions out there, leave them in the comments below. I don't know if it orient like this, like this, like this, like this. So I might, depending on the sides, this is pretty thin here. This is, I can't make a big cabochon out of this side, but I can use this side here. This is the side I was probably going to lean more on. Look at that. It's even got lines on the outside that aren't on the inside. So yeah. Kind of cool. And then we got this piece of gneiss. It had a lot of patterns and stuff going on, and I kind of debated that because originally I was going to cut this end off here and expose this face, but I wanted these lines. I like the way these lines run like that, so that's how I cut it. It's got some stuff going on. Oh, I see it's got a nice big crack in it too, right there. Let's see how bad it is. Oh, look at that. All right, see that's what you got to look for when you're cutting these rocks. So I might have to cut it a different way because there's that cracks running right up through there. I might have enough on this side, the cab, but we might have to make another cut on this. So, yeah, that's the not the danger, the problems with picking up beach rocks is they get beat up pretty good, especially during storms. All right, so there you have it. And I'll take these rocks here, and each one of them I'll make a cabochon out of, and you'll see that at the end of episode 28. So now I'm going to clear these out of the way, and I'm going to bring in the rocks from episode 26, and we're going to look at the cabochons. So let me clear this up, and we'll get back. So now you're looking at the rocks that Carmen sent me from California that I did. They're in the order they cut. Right, this is number 1, and this is number 10. So we'll start with this one here. I believe this is a piece of rhyolite, or a amygdaloidal rhyolite. It had this cool looking inclusion running through there. I mean, it's pretty wild. So here is the cabochon I made out of it. A really good shine on it. It was finished pretty good. It didn't have any issues with this. It was a little crumbly. This rock when I was cutting it, the bottom kept breaking off, but it didn't affect the area that I wanted to make the cab in. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Runs through the back like that. There's the front. There's the original rock. We get it here so you can see the inclusion, and there is the cabochon I made out of it. If we can get it to focus, there we go. Okay. All right, and we had this one here. It was more like an agate than a, I thought, I'm saying quartz, but probably a chalcedony or something, because this thing was really, really hard. And then it had some inclusions in there, jasper, I think it was. And you can kind of see inside this. It's not super clear enough though. So here is the cab I made out of it. And the shine on this thing is exceptional. Look at that. And I tried to include some of the stuff that was in there. So you can kind of see my finger. It's kind of clear. Yeah, look at that. Even had a little dendrite growing in it down at the bottom here. So there's the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of it. All right, I believe this is she said it was a piece of chert, and I thought it, looked like it had dendrites on top here, but it had a little surprise inside. I don't know if you remember when I cut it in half, but it had this green line running through there. That is so cool. You would never notice that looking at this rock on the outside. Well, I tried to incorporate that green line into this cabochon I made out of it. Look at that. And the shine on this was exceptional. So there's the back. There's the front. And I think I knocked this one out of the park. I got exactly what I wanted. I got that green stripe running through there like that. So there's the original rock. And there's the cabochon I made out of it. This one here, I'm not sure what she said this one was. It's not a chert or a quartz or anything like that. I had a lot of issue with it because I had a lot of fractures in there. So I made a round, here's cabochon, and another one that got a decent shine. A little undercutting right there. But all in all, I think it looked pretty cool. Got them green spots. Here's the back. Here's the front. There's the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of it. I'm trying to put it. I know there's some glare in here, but I need the lighting because you can't. It's kind of a gloomy day outside, so there's not natural light coming in. So I got to try to make it up with the artificial. Yeah. And there's the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of it. Now this one here was a real problem child. I had to go 3 times before I finally found a chunk that I could make a cab out of. And I liked it because it had these little inclusions of like little agate inclusions in there. You can see that one right there. And it had, healed fractures and stuff. Well, the problem was whatever this red stuff is here, chert or whatever, it was chipping like crazy. I had one cab, I was almost done with it, and a big chunk fell out. So I had to start over again. And I was cutting this thing like, all over the place trying to find a solid cab. But here's the cab I made out of it. An exceptional shine. Got some naturally healed fractures. Incorporated a little chunk of that agate looking stuff there. Got that line running up through there. No chips. Here's the back. Here's the front. I got the design I wanted. I wanted all 3 colors in there. That seemed to work out okay. So there's the original rock. And there's the cabochon I made out of it. And here's another one I had an issue with. This thing was absolutely gorgeous with the yellow and the orange and stuff, but it was just full of fractures and soft spots. And I think I made 3 attempts on this before I was successful. Look at that color. Isn't that crazy? Well, the first attempt was this one right here. And I'm almost done with it. I mean, I was on the very last step and it broke in half. So that was a drag. So then I switched to something a little thicker, this teardrop shape here. The shine was really good, except it's got a big honking crack right along the bottom here. And I was afraid the whole bottom was going to fall off, so I was like super gentle with this thing. If I were to drop this on the floor right now, I'm almost positive that'll break off. But look at the pattern and the color. It's just, I mean, the shine's good. Here's the back. There's the front. And come out pretty good. So what's going to probably happen with this thing and that other piece, this one here, that broken half, this one, I'm going to glue this together and it'll go on my dud, in a dud bag. So the dud bags are duds for a reason. And then this one is probably going to go in there too, because I'm not going to sell it with this big crack. If somebody drops this on the floor, they're not going to be happy. But there's the cabs I made out of it, and there's the original rock. So here's another piece. I want to call this a mignolite too, a rhyolite. Had all these nice, cool looking, agate looking inclusions running through here. And this is another one I had issue with. I had a big trillion cut. It's kind of like a fatty triangle. It was going really good, and then a quarter of it fell off. So then I switched to plan B. I had another piece out of the original slab. So I made this little tongue right here. And this one survived the process. It didn't fall apart. But it wasn't my plan. I wanted to make something much larger. But you can see that's a real good representation of that agate stuff going on in there right there. And it had some stuff on the side here. But yeah. So I'll probably be revisiting this stone here. This one come out really good. I didn't have any problems with this one. The shine is awesome on it. Got a little bit of undercutting or, patches showing through there, but yeah, quite pleased with that. So there's the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of it. All right, this one here I think is chert. And it had this little agate looking window in it. Then it had all kinds of little, agate topography and quartz and veins and chalcedony and all kinds of stuff running through there. Well, when I cut it, I didn't see any of that. I got this nice purplish color looking here. And this one here had a lot of cracks and stuff in it. And this one was really hard. I mean, hard. It took a while to cut it. It took a while to make a cab out of it. But here's the cabochon. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. The little skinny rectangle here. Beautiful shine. Nice colors. Nice pattern. Yeah, so all the work, effort was good on this. And this one here I had a breakage too. I had to start over again. But that's the reality of working with rocks like this. So yeah, there's the cabochon, and there is the original rock it came out of. So this is probably my favorite one out of the batch, other than this one right here. You look at this thing, go, but man, you cut it open, and look at that. Look at the pattern inside there. Even got some fortifications and a bunch of floaty, mossy looking stuff in there. So here is the cabochon I made out of it. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Really nice shine. There's the back. There's the front. And there is the original rock, and there is the cabochon. Yep, this one come out good. I didn't have any issues with this rock. I had one crack in it, and I had to kind of move over to the side, but it worked out very good for me. I had this piece here had a kind of a greenish tint, had this stripe running through there, and whatever the host rock is up on top here. And this is another one I was afraid this thing was going to fly apart at any moment because it had a lot of little fractures in it. But I think a lot of the fractures are I call them healed fractures, where something oozed in there over the years and solidified and glued it back together. So here's the cabochon I made. I incorporated all the colors that are in there, the greenish stuff. There's a little bit of red, yellow, and then whatever the host rock was up on top there. And a little cracked up, but I don't see, like this one here, that's a healed crack. I'm not seeing anything in the light there. So there's the back. There's the front. Shined really good. All these rocks shined really good. I ain't got no complaints about that. Just some of how fragile they were, or with the cracks and stuff. So there's the original rock, and there is the cabochon I made out of it. So all these rocks will be available for sale on the Etsy store, except I gotta let Carmen, if she wants, if she can pick a couple of these out for supplying the rocks, because I keep the rocks and I can always make more of these cabs. So some of them will be on the Etsy store, and then the ones she picks, I'll just make more cabs out of those. So be on the lookout for that, and I'll get this cleaned up and we'll finish up here. So I hope you enjoyed watching me cut these common beach rocks in half and revealing what the beauty on the inside of these things, because they surprise me all the time. You got to remember, you know, I do 10 rocks. Maybe some of them aren't super duper, you know, beautiful every time, you know, like if I was doing agates that I bought or something like that. But I was going to cut these rocks in half anyway. So I just wanted to share the experience with you viewers out there. And, you know, because a lot of you folks are really interested in this stuff, but you don't have the equipment to do this. And I figure I can do this, and you can see it being done, and we both are smiling big and seeing what's inside these rocks. And I hope you enjoyed the cabochons that Carmen sent. Thanks, Carmen, appreciate it. You know, kind of makes things breaks it up a little bit, makes it a little more interesting with rocks from other parts of the country or the world. I'd like to thank my subscribers out there. Appreciate you liking this content enough to actually subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. There's a button down below, and then once you subscribe, or if you're just a viewer watching the video, slide over and give me a thumbs up, because that gets the analytics out there so more people can find this content. And then they got a bell you can push, and you can hype it on your mobile device, and you can share it. And I don't know if YouTube's come up with anything else to help us out here as far as getting the content out so more people can find it. So I'm going to put a video up here, probably the number 5 video, because that's for this series, because that's where I show the first set of cabochons from number 4. And then YouTube will put a video down here. I don't know, hopefully it's one of mine. I don't ever watch my videos after I produce them. It's kind of weird, but that's, you know, this is the way it is. So I appreciate you watching and coming back and liking the content. That's all I got, and I'll catch you later.